And then when they talk to him, he goes like this. I have a line, but it's hard to talk in this.
Great performance.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire official podcast. This is a momentous occasion for us. This is podcast number 10. On this show, we talk about comic books, movies, TV shows, video games, and everyone's favorite political discourse. I am your host, Tactic Angel, and with me is Midget Radio, my murderous socialist friend.
Hello.
You have really nailed waiting for me to get to the end.
10 episodes in. I feel like I've got it down.
You are a pro.
I think so.
I think that we should definitely look into extending your contract, probably for more pay.
I think that's a good idea. And that's what they say, right? Like, you do something 10 times, you become a pro at it. I think that's saying. 10 times.
Is it?
You got it down.
It's just 10?
Just 10.
I played 10 baseball games.
You're a master. You're a pro.
Cubs. I'm ready to go.
Easily.
All right. So that's insane. So today we will be talking about two topics. The first one is Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And then we will have a political, what are these called?
Discourses.
Yeah.
Discourser.
Conversation about Russia.
Can't wait for that.
Yep. It's going to be great. First, we're going to get into Star Wars. First is the non-spoilery part. Some people have been calling Star Wars Rogue One, the Star Wars story, episode 3.5. It is a movie that picks up just before the events of Star Wars, episode 4, A New Hope, and it follows a group of rebels trying to find the plans for the original Death Star, as well as maybe redemption and some long-lost relationships.
Yeah.
The movie stars Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, Alan Tudyk. Do I say that right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Alan Tudyk, yeah.
I don't know. It's like Tudyk. Anyway, and Donnie Yen. Everyone's favorite Donnie Yen.
Fuck yeah.
So, Midget Radio, what did you think of Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story?
I totally dug it. I saw it like 2 days ago. And yeah, I completely dug it. It felt to me like kind of the first legit Star Wars movie since the original series.
Okay.
I don't really have a lot of complaints about it.
I have a long list of things that bothered me, but none of them were serious. Do I have that list in front of me? Why would I even fucking write it down?
I don't.
I don't have it in front of me. I can probably remember some of it. I also wrote down the things that I liked. The things that I liked was a shorter list, but the things that I didn't like were all like, well, that should be just a little bit to the left things.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with this film.
Yeah.
I like some of the change of tone.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because we are old, miserable bastards at this point? Or
I don't
do you
know.
think
I
think the tone works for this movie, though.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, more than anything else, aside from just a shift in tone, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Really, all we ever want a movie to do is to just have a plot that makes sense with characters that are mildly interesting. And this movie manages to do that. And I would say that for the most part, a lot of movies manage to fuck up one of those things.
Okay.
So, while I appreciate the shift in tone, no, I don't think it was like necessary, or and I don't think it was the thing that made this movie good. I think this movie was good because it made sense, and the characters were mildly interesting.
Okay. I know there's been a lot of complaints about like the acting in this movie. Did you have any problems with the characters being kind of underdeveloped or dull or just dry?
No, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that these are the most like fully realized characters I've ever seen in a film, but I mean, I can see some arguments suggesting they're flat to a point, but at the same time, I mean, it's still a Star Wars movie. I don't know how fully three-dimensional Luke Skywalker or Princess Leia are at the end of the day.
Yeah. And if you view this movie as a heist movie,
yeah.
if you watch
Yeah.
if you watch most heist movies, there's not a lot of like emotional development in the characters. There's not a lot of
not typically
backstory. You usually have like maybe one person, like even in a movie that has like a really good heist story, which is like Inception.
Yeah.
It only has, Leo's character and arguably the host's character. I don't remember his name. Who they're trying to incept. Only those two people really have much depth.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just like, oh, I'm funny man and I'm super serious. Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. The only thing I'm good at is being serious
being
and getting
in every movie.
And getting in just amazing fight scenes. So why don't we just do the Star Wars 1 to 5? Okay. How many stars would you give it? This is the Netflix scale, Midget Radio.
I'm gonna give it 4.
I'm also gonna give it 4.
Nice.
I take it that you would recommend this to people to watch.
Absolutely, I would. Hell yes, I would.
I would as well. I would probably give a caveat that if you have young children, do not take them to see this movie. This is not Star Wars, the Clone Wars on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
So, glowing recommendations from both of the Wednesday Night Gentlemen. Throwing up the spoiler tag.
Nice.
Most of the people are going to bail on us anyway for the politics.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Spoiler section. Here we go.
Okay. I don't know. You start.
Okay. What did you think of the digital resurrection of Peter Cushing?
I hated it. I thought it was so distracting. I really wish they had just recast that role. I mean, movies used to do that. TV shows used to do that. We could figure it out. That it's a different actor but the same character. But at least it'll look like a human. That technology is interesting. I thought it worked pretty well in Civil War with Robert Downey Jr. Of course, he was alive at least to play that part. But God, I think that's a genuine like uncanny valley issue. There was something about I don't know if it was like maybe it's because he's older, he's got a lot more character in his face than someone like a young Robert Downey Jr. does.
I think that's part of it. At the same time, like, and I'm not going to say he didn't look 100%. He didn't look as freakish as some people want to say he did.
Yeah.
But he definitely doesn't look as good as some other digital recreations. He still looks a lot better than de-aged Professor Xavier.
Oh God, yes, yeah.
Who looks like an alien.
That was horrid. Yeah. He does, but he still he doesn't look like a person. It doesn't look like a person on the screen. I mean, you can really see it in the eyes, especially. They look fucking dead, I think. It's just It's off-putting. It's just unnecessary. I wish
I
figured
don't
something
remember
else
who
out.
the actor is who did his lines, but I think like I remember seeing him once, and he's an English guy with a long characterful face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
just let him be. Just let him be.
I mean, like, no. All right.
That's what I would prefer.
Let's say, why don't you just have him sit in a makeup chair for about 2 hours?
Right.
You can make that work.
Yeah. Not
We know.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in Looper, but something a little more subtle, I think, would be fine.
Wow, Joseph Gordon-Levitt getting all the props today.
God, he's the worst person.
Okay. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the worst person.
The worst person ever.
So, you weren't into it. I didn't think it was that bad. I kind of, there was a part of me that was like, yay. And then there was a part of me that was like, that doesn't quite look right.
Yeah.
And then I think that the young me was like boiling to the surface there.
That was my biggest issue with the movie. That's the biggest one, and not a huge deal. I still think it's a kick-ass movie. But I don't get it. I don't get it. It seems like the easier choice would have been the better choice in this instance.
Makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of everyone dying, especially Donnie Yen?
I was
who died
extremely sad about
time.
that. I was really surprised at how sad I was when what's his face? K, the fucking robot, bites it.
Yeah.
I was like really genuinely sad about that. And then when Donnie Yen died, I just refused to believe it. So he's coming back. He made it off. He made it.
After they fire the Death Star on the horizon,
Yeah.
he's just gonna dust himself off, and he's
fine.
gonna be like,
Cool.
"The Force is with me. I'm
I am
one with the Force."
He's such a badass.
I actually thought he had probably the best death scene.
Yeah. His was pretty. Yeah, I mean his was pretty sweet. I just like him a lot. I think he's one of the few, probably one of the only, like, extremely capable, martial arts movie stars who actually can act a little bit, like who's actually got like some real ability.
No.
Yes,
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan
100%.
is Jackie Chan in every movie he's ever been in, and yes, he has tons of
some
charisma.
movies he's not called
and
Jackie.
he's super fun. But Donnie Yen can actually emote. He can actually play a character, which is awesome to see. He's just an enormously talented person, and I'm so excited to see him in a Star Wars movie, to have kind of crossed cultures, and to have done such a good job, I think, in a very American movie.
Yeah. I was actually really happy to see everybody die. I was impressed that they would be willing to kill everyone.
Yeah. I was too.
So
Grand
Grand Moff Tarkin was your favorite part.
He was the worst, most unnecessary thing in the movie, but
my opinion on the worst and most unnecessary part of the movie is the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I don't know what to say. It's kind of fun, but
there's a okay, but the thing is, like, there are things about this that seem unnecessary. You have all these cameos. They don't bother me, but they don't do a lot for me.
Yeah.
Like, what was the point of us seeing C-3PO and R2-D2?
I know.
What was the point of? I mean, like, maybe at the end, there with Leia, that would make sense. I didn't have a problem with that. I think specifically, I was like annoyed at how long it took, and like that they felt this is a Star Wars movie. No one will understand what Star Wars is without a
Yeah.
laser sword. And just like, oh man, I went into this like, I just want a story that makes sense. I'd like presumably a large portion of the characters to die to show some sacrifice thing.
Yeah.
I want to see, if they can pull off a Star Wars movie without a lightsaber in it.
Yeah.
And we got to the last 30 seconds, and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, the door won't open. It's like, and you're like, ah. And then Darth Vader is like Battlefront Darth Vader, who's super
badass.
super fast, and he just kills everybody because he's Vader. And just like,
yeah. I was fine with it.
it just seemed like gratuitous nerdgasm material.
Yeah, and I mean it was, but I feel like at the same time, so Star Wars The Force Awakens, every movie that basically J.J. Abrams fucking does, that's all it is here's a bunch of fucking nerd references. Here are a lot of things that reference movies that were better than the one that I just made. And this movie definitely has some of that, but it gave us a totally new story, and totally new characters that I don't know. I guess the insertion of some of the fan oriented stuff doesn't bother me as much because it is so much less than what has been shoved down our throats with Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan, and Star Wars. The Force Awakens.
I'm not saying every single one of them, like that you have Jyn Erso talking to Mon Mothma. Like, I go, oh, Mon Mothma, I know who that is. But I don't like get excited. It makes sense that she's talking to him.
Yeah.
And then there's just little things like, do we need to see Vader several times?
Yeah.
Do we need to see R2D2 and C3PO?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
They have one line.
Yeah.
And some beeps.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's just that it's weird fan service. And then at the same time, like, the whole plot of this movie is theoretically to try to tie up a 2-meter wide plot hole in the original Star Wars movie.
Yeah, which I actually really like.
So, but like, why? I mean, what is the point? Does it matter? Does it make, like...
I like it. It makes sense. I mean, this movie was made because Star Wars is awesome.
What is that? Son of a bitch.
That's really it. So this is a totally legit story. How did they get the fucking Death Star plans? That's a story I think that anyone would want to see. And I like that they used the opportunity to beef up this 2-meter wide issue. It makes it a little bit more interesting. Oh, this was intentional. That's just cool. I like it.
Okay, so like, there are people who are both complaining about this as a concept, and then also like who think it's really clever.
Okay.
And you're the person who's on the clever side.
I like it.
I don't find the need to hang a lantern on it, because it's like, if I really start to think about it, how many people work on the Death Star? I don't know. Let's say 10,000 people.
But this is Star Wars.
And
none of that matters.
No, like 10,000 people are putting it together, and it's no point did Bob turn to Joe and say, we're working on the reactor, Joe, but I can see space. Maybe we should put up some like chain link fence over that.
No, it's the Empire. No one's making fucking suggestions there.
They went
because
out.
They'll probably get force choked.
They went out to like the Imperial form website and filled out a 14 3W70.
They definitely did not. They definitely
And
did not. That's why those
referred
guys
up
don't have a rail next to the Death Star beam where they can just fucking, for whatever reason, they have to stand next to it in the first place.
Yeah.
And there's no rail to lean against. I mean, no one's complaining about that. No one gives a shit about 2 meter wide. None of those guys are going to care.
Yeah.
They're going to keep it to
man, they
themselves.
got to look out at all of these other places. Like even Bespin, and then we get to the end of this movie, and it's like usually when people place an important control panel on a thing that's hanging out into space, they at least put a railing on it. Though you'd think, wait, why is the control panel dangling 20 feet off of the top of this building?
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fucking Star Wars.
So a lot of people are also sort of giving this movie shit because of the differences between the trailer and the movie.
I don't know what to say to that. That sounds really stupid to me, but I actually like that there is some misleading stuff in the trailer. Because in the trailer, you see several things. You see whatever's face, director. Do you remember his name? Oh, no. But I know who you're talking about.
The
director.
Yeah. You see the director, and he's like in his cape, and he's walking through the water, and he never does that.
Yeah.
And you see the TIE fighter pop up behind the control panel that's dangling out into space.
Oh, wow.
That
I
never
remember
happens.
that. Okay.
You do.
All right.
You see several things that never happen. And like if you take those all in, like you're expecting something to happen, but then something else happens. And so the movie isn't ruined for you.
Yeah.
By the trailer.
Yeah.
So to the extent that it's like, well, why don't you just make a trailer that kind of gets people to go to it, so they'll understand the general premise.
Yeah.
Of it.
That's all it's supposed to do. It's just a fucking commercial for a movie.
I don't know. So that didn't bother you. You didn't even notice.
I don't give a shit. That's a stupid complaint. That's a stupid complaint. If the movie was good, then the movie was good. If it was bad, then it was bad. I guess if you hated the movie but you thought the trailer was awesome, then I guess maybe you've got a complaint there. But
some people complain that this movie was humorless.
All right.
Which
I don't agree,
I actually do agree that it was mostly humorless because I guess Alan Tudyk, who plays K2SO, is supposed to be our comic relief.
Yeah.
I think I remember like one of the things that was on my list of things that I didn't particularly care for was the way that he casually threw that grenade and just hit people that he had no idea were actually there.
He totally knew they were there because he has like robot sensors and he sense where bad guys are.
Yeah, no, I know a lot about robots being one of their emissaries. No. They're just little things like that. I didn't think his lines were that funny. So for this, it was like an entirely humorless movie for me. But I was okay with it.
I liked that he was bad at improv. Like, I love the, what are you doing with these prisoners? These are prisoners? Like, scene. I mean, that was awesome. Like, I totally enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'm taking them to the prison. I don't know why, but it works for me that he's a fucking robot. But he just cannot do any kind of improvisation.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually liked the character. I didn't think he was particularly funny. In the ha-ha funny sort of way.
I liked him. But I mean, yeah, he's certainly the only one that that's really all that humorous. It's not a problem though for this movie.
I kind of liked I liked Cassian's speech about like doing dirty things for good causes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
it was a little bit too long.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
Yeah.
It gives you a side of it that you don't see. And I don't know if Star Wars requires any moral ambiguity. In fact, I rather suspect it doesn't.
I don't think it does either, and I kind of hope that that's about all that we get. I don't really want to spend a bunch of time questioning the motives of the rebellion or their practices.
Yeah. Well, that and then you get into the whole, well, Mads Mikkelsen isn't a bad guy.
Yeah.
Galen Erso, who creates the Death Star, isn't a bad guy.
Yeah.
But they kill him anyway.
Yeah.
He doesn't, not intention. Well, supposed to be intentionally and then unintentionally.
Yeah.
So, serves the plot either way.
Yeah, it works.
It's just like, once you start getting into that, you start thinking, well, if, 1% of the Empire are decent people, or the same thing with whatever the fuck his name is in Star Wars The Force Awakens. If you start getting into this situation where, not all stormtroopers are bad, or totally committed to their thing, then it's like, well, wow, that sucks that you just blew up that planet that they were on.
Yep.
There were probably several thousand people there who were not really into it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time investigating or exploring all of that.
Yeah.
I'm just not that interested. It's Star Wars.
A lot of people complained Felicity Jones wasn't. I thought she was fine.
Yeah,
good.
I thought she was
serviceable.
Fine too. Yeah, yeah.
I was a little bit disappointed that Forrest Whitaker was only in a scene.
I liked what he did with his voice.
Yeah,
I like. Well,
he sounded like
that was a good.
It just seemed a little weird. He's like, I'm part of the rebellion. I'm this badass guy. And,
yeah.
Can I get on the ship? No,
fuck it. I'm done.
I'm just gonna die.
Yeah, I don't care anymore.
that was a little weird.
It was weird, but
why don't you just have him like, okay, let's insert 10 seconds where he starts to run, something falls, crushes his robot leg, and he's like,
no, it was important.
Save the rebellion.
It had to be his choice to
save the dream.
Just fucking give up and die, I guess.
All right. These are real. I mean, like, if you look at it, you're just like, I don't know. The guy's clearly had kind of a rough life. He appears to be in the advanced stages of emphysema. Yeah. He appears to have lost several limbs.
Most of the body parts, yeah.
He's just a barely functional RoboCop. And he's just like, no, fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool, that's cool. I'm fine with it.
Still, none of these complaints really rise to the point where you wouldn't recommend it. I mean, these are little things.
Yeah, very little. Yeah, overall, I had a great time watching this movie.
I enjoyed a lot of the imagery. Like, I enjoyed, like, when the Death Star showed up and you can just see it over the horizon.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's a very nice,
that was cool
shot.
Yeah.
I didn't really love going back to Mustafar or wherever. That didn't make a lot of sense. This is going back to the Vader thing where he builds his, like, beach house.
Oh, okay. I was fine with it. I liked the coming out of hyperspace. I liked the one particular shot of, I don't remember if it was what rebel ship, but it was basically just a point of view shot of a rebel ship coming out of hyperspace and a bunch of star destroyers right in its fucking face. I just thought that was cool. I like that.
Star destroyers are of variable usefulness, I found.
They're imposing.
They are certainly imposing until they are required by the plot not to be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I dug it.
It's good. Any closing thoughts for you?
I hope J.J. Abrams saw this movie and figured out how to make a Star Wars film. That'd be great.
I hate that people think he knows what he's doing. Because on so many levels, like, you look at the first two Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
And it's like Star Trek 1, reference, whatever. Star Trek Into Darkness is like, well, Wrath of Khan was good.
Yeah.
So let's do Wrath of Khan, but instead let's switch who is in the reactor.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And then rather than have this, be like a psychological thing about loss.
Yeah.
I propose a fist fight.
Yeah. It's much more fun to watch on some kind of hover car.
What a hack.
He is.
And
he is the luckiest hack in the entire fucking world. He has never made one genuinely good thing and is just given Star Trek and given Star Wars. It's just ridiculous.
Well, he is, with running and emotional pacing, what Michael Bay is to slow motion,
an explosion,
tits, and fireworks.
Explosion.
I bet if you had them collaborate on a movie,
oh god, it would be entirely plotless, and
I bet it would be highly entertaining, but everyone would walk out feeling dumber.
Yep.
They might not even realize that they became dumber. Is how dumber they became.
Jesus. Would you rather have Michael Bay make a Star Wars movie or J.J. Abrams?
I would rather
or
Michael Moore.
Michael Bay make a Star Trek movie or J.J. Abrams.
I mean, at this point, I would rather have J.J. Abrams make a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see... Well, I mean, from what I saw, and I haven't seen the movie because I don't know that I could really deal with it. I haven't seen the Star Trek Beyond.
Oh.
But it seemed to me that there were like motorbike chases.
Yeah.
And like modern music.
Yes.
Like modern rock music being played.
Yeah.
And to me, like,
that's actually central to the plot.
That looks a little bit like a Michael Bay scene to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so you've already seen a little bit of what that is.
Just a little tiny bit. Michael Bay could do so much more, but
Uhura, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to spray you down with some stuff that makes you glisten.
Yep.
And
rip up some of these clothes.
You're going to be probably braless for this 100-meter dash.
Yeah.
So there you go.
This is the second half hour of the movie that we've got to fill. So.
Well, if you film it 1,400 frames per second, you can make that 100 meters seem like a long time. God. You and I watched Transformers 2.
Yeah.
And when they got to a certain shot when Megan Fox is running away.
Oh God, yeah.
And the napalm is going in the background. Yeah. I remember both of us just laughing our ass off. And we were not the only people in the movie theater who realized just what a ridiculous money shot this was.
Yeah. Yeah, great stuff.
Oh man. I would rather see Michael Bay do the Baywatch movie.
That makes sense, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
100%.
Yeah.
And his name is Bay.
That's true.
And Bay
like a pun.
Is like there's the beach. And beach is where you'd need Baywatch.
Yeah.
Michael Baywatch. Oh man. Would it be Michael Bay's Baywatch?
It probably would be. I mean, it wouldn't be Michael Bay's watch.
Michael's Baywatch?
Michael's Baywatch. Maybe.
We should probably talk about Russia now.
Okay.
Russia! Russia has been in the news lately for reportedly trying to influence the United States election and or undermine the confidence of the American electorate and its government.
I guess, yeah.
Have you, I assume that you've read some shit about this.
Yeah.
Does it seem a little weird? Did you get any weirdness coming off of these stories?
No. I don't know how to define that, though, anymore.
Yeah. So, and I don't know the answer to this. Because I have a lot of opinions, and at the end of the day, they amount to a shrug of the shoulders.
Yeah.
I mean, with Congress's approval rating at 11%, do you think that it is reasonable to expect that Americans' confidence in its government can be lowered to any significant degree?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, because polls don't really mean anything anymore. So I have no idea.
Fascinating answer.
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know what to say to that, because it's hard to imagine it getting much worse, but I would have said that a year ago. So I don't know.
Okay. You don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me to say, and that's actually kind of a sleight of hand, because there's more to our government than Congress, certainly.
Right, of
and
course.
Thankfully.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Do you think that America has ever, or perhaps continues, to meddle in the elections of other countries?
Of course. I hope we do.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't you think that all countries meddle in the election?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Obama said flat out when Netanyahu came here, it's like, you Jews shouldn't be messing with our stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Netanyahu said, fuck you, I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
You'll come down here, slap you right in the face. I still want that, Street Fighter clone of, world leaders so that you could have Netanyahu fighting Putin.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
And we'd have to get somebody else. I don't think Obama would represent us well.
Probably not in a street fight, but
anyway. It's a ridiculous game idea, and I think it's fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you think the purposes of meddling in the United States election would be?
Well, obviously Putin is going to want someone in there that he has a better chance of working with. Or that's going to fuck with him less. At the very least.
Okay.
So, I mean, of course, that's part of it.
So there's a lot of this that, and that's kind of the angle that I get from a lot of these stories. But then at the same time, you have Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is your option against Hillary Clinton. And if you looked at the two characters, and I don't know if this is probably not strictly true, but he seems to be much more pro-military. He has talked about enhancing our nuclear arsenal within the last week.
Yeah.
At the very least, he seems willing to curtail and even reverse the shrinking American military hegemony that we've enjoyed for the last 50 years. So, on the one hand, it seems strange that he would want that.
Putin?
Right?
But he's already got good ties with Trump. Trump's already complimented Putin as a great leader. of his country. They're business interests there as well. I don't think that Putin believes at all that Trump has any interest in intervening in Russian affairs or doing anything overseas aside from maybe blowing up ISIS, and that's about it. So I don't think that he believes that Trump would be that Trump foreign policy would be as intrusive as a Clinton foreign policy or really any American foreign policy before right this minute. So yeah, I mean, while there's a lot of fucking lip service toward beefing up the military and beefing up the nuclear arsenal, I don't think Putin gives a shit. I don't think that Putin is even necessarily has imperialistic tendencies. I don't think he's going to invade other countries unless they basically walk into his arms, like Crimea. I don't think that's where it's at. I think he's probably a lot smarter than that. I don't think we're going to see like a Hitler era, I'm just going to blast through every fucking foreign territory with a bunch of tanks and take the shit over. I think Putin's playing more of an economic game probably than anything else. And that's probably the fight we're really going to see, is one of influence and one of economy. I don't think it's going to be guns and bullets and nuclear weapons.
Okay, I was curious if you were going to say four-dimensional chess there.
It's definitely not one-dimensional. So I think Trump's got that locked up, but
so I think, no, you had a good point there, because I mean, Clinton presumably said a lot of very bellicose things before she left as Secretary of State. I think some of that was probably because she was politically embarrassed about the reset button that didn't actually even say reset. But
yeah,
man, you got all these people. It's like the State Department built the Death Star. Shouldn't we put a grate over that? No, it'll be fine. It's only 2 meters wide.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've got Clinton saying some pretty aggressive things to Russia and actually endorsing a no-fly zone over Syria, which is right about the time that Syria or Syrian airspace was really being controlled by Russia.
Yeah.
Or particularly the northern part. And the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which she would know because she has all this access, said that it would require us to be willing to go into a shooting war with Russia.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand that, like, I think you're right that Trump isn't necessarily going to get in Russia's way for, say, its continued occupation of Crimea and eastern Ukraine,
or in Syria. I don't think at all.
I was trying to make a goddamn list.
I'm just saying, that's kind of the biggest thing on the table right now.
Or Syria. I think if he started making more aggressive actions into the rest of the Ukraine or into the Baltic states and other, NATO territories, that he would probably be pretty tough against that.
Yeah.
Like,
he would have to be, basically. I mean, he really wouldn't have a choice at that point. But I don't think that's a fucking risk at all.
So if Russia's whole purpose in this is to not get in a shooting war with the United States over Syria, like, what percentage of people in the United States would agree we shouldn't get in a shooting war against Russia?
I don't think that's Russia's
Syria?
whole purpose at all. I think their whole purpose is to prop up Assad unencumbered and to strengthen a relationship between themselves, Syria, and Iran. That's the issue. It's not... I don't think it's as basic as, well, we don't want to get into this one shooting war. I mean, of course, nobody here is going to want to get into any kind of war at all. That's America for you. But the game is much larger. It's much longer. He's got a much longer view in mind, and I don't think we understand it. I have no doubt that fucking Donald Trump doesn't get it at all. But I mean, that's the issue is that relationship over there.
Well, thank goodness we have an unpredictable president too. So now we're on equal footing.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean the no-fly zone is just a lot of pussyfooting. We don't want to shoot bullets at Russia, and we don't want them to shoot bullets at us, and God knows if that would ever even actually happen. But the idea is, what do we do with Assad? What do we do with Syria?
Well, I thought that was interesting too, because you do have a situation where Turkey actually did shoot down a Russian jet.
Yeah.
And even more recently, you have a situation where Turkey, a Turkish police officer assassinated.
Probably.
Probably.
You want to give the benefit of the doubt, but I mean,
did you see those photos?
Yeah, I know. I see your point. And what has Russia done about it?
I don't know.
They're not going to do fucking anything about it because of Syria. Because they need Turkey in order to negotiate any kind of actual peace plan and to negotiate some kind of peace plan and to resolve that fucking civil conflict and for Assad to remain in power.
Well, they do.
I don't think they're going to fuck that up.
I think that when we saw that Turkey went into immediate panic mode, they're like, send someone on a plane to Moscow today to bow as low as they possibly can to Putin and say, we are going to fix this.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you can fix it because the dude is dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
But man, it was surreal that you had these pictures and like, it's an HD picture.
Yeah.
Of a guy.
Yeah.
Going nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
That's messed up.
I don't know. But I don't know. I guess back to the original sort of point of this conversation. I mean, it seems clear that Russia had an interest in the outcome of the United States election, and that they took that they definitely took some assertive measures to see their preference come out on top.
Yeah. So like, I don't disagree that it's possible. There's just been like, so I remember when the DNC got hacked and then all the stuff started coming out and it was all coming out through WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
And WikiLeaks has said directly, we didn't get this information from Russia.
Uh-huh.
and like, I don't know how much anyone trusts WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
Because I think they kind of vacillate back and forth in popularity depending on who is in power.
Yeah.
So like, when Daniel Manning was giving information to them, then the left was like, oh, look at how shitty Republicans are. And then when someone's giving information to them about the Democrats, the Republicans are like, oh, what a service they're doing. They're replacing legitimate journalism.
Yeah.
Which in some parts is a little bit true.
Sort of, but
you just wish that the press would be more consistently interested in challenging power. And I think you get a lot of cheerleading these days on one side or the other.
Yeah.
And then a lot of us, like a lot of us being the people, help enable that because
oh fuck yeah,
because everybody's like divided off and they're like, I'm on the red team.
Yeah.
No, I'm on the blue team. It's like, I'm on the red, white, and blue team, guys. Come on.
Oh my God, shut up. But yeah.
But like people treat like CNN like it's a left-wing rag.
Yeah.
They'll treat Fox News like it's right-wing. And for the most part, there's some legitimacy there in terms of particularly the opinion people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But there are good shows on both of those networks.
Yeah.
That do play it, mostly down the middle. It's always going to be a little right or a little left, depending on the day of the week, the subject, and who's talking.
Yeah.
So whatever. But so you have WikiLeaks. They say it's not Russia.
Yeah.
So maybe it is Russia, maybe it's not.
But I mean, you've got
to
the
us.
CIA, you've got a number of intelligence agencies saying, yeah, it was fucking totally, definitely Russia.
Yeah.
I trust that. I put a little more stock in that than I do in fucking WikiLeaks.
But it was like, we're launching an investigation. 2 days later, yeah, we think it was probably Russia. And it's just like...
Right, but do you think... I mean, was there no investigation beforehand?
It took you 3 days to arrive at that conclusion, and you've provided us no information.
What do you
about
think
it.
they're doing, though? I mean, honestly, what do you fucking think they're doing? Like,
Well,
they're making it
okay.
up? I mean, they're just... all of these like this, there's a certain point where you kind of have to take that line of thought a little further and wonder how far into conspiracy theory territory am I getting? Because that seems ridiculous to me when you have a number of intelligence communities who are all pointing in the same fucking direction and continue to doubt them because WikiLeaks says they didn't fucking get anything from Russia and Russia says they didn't do anything. That seems a little ridiculous to me. I mean, there's one that's more likely true than the other.
Well, yeah, and I generally agree with that. But even so, let's take another situation where you, I believe, have taken the opposite position, which is you have America, you have MI6, you have all of the intelligence agencies of Europe saying that Iraq has weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
And they provide PowerPoint presentations and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering where the PowerPoint presentation and all the other shit is. And why it only took 3 days.
Yeah.
So, like, you have a situation where, like, you just have to step back and you go, it's a little weird. It's a little weird that when the CIA and the FBI announced it, Congress was like, well, this is a problem. Can you provide us information about it? We'd like to have a hearing. And they said, no, we will not give Congress any information. You're like, wait, is that even a thing that should be able to happen? Maybe. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know.
We specifically have oversight over you, and you can refuse us information.
There's got to be. I mean, obviously, they can't just give up everything to Congress.
Oh no,
those guys are citizens.
There's obviously supposed to be some framework, but like, if they said give us everything, and they said, well, here's the stuff we can give you.
Yeah.
Then that would make sense. But if they say no. It just looks a little weird.
I guess I don't know. I'm not that worried about it. I guess I mean you can question it all fucking day long, I guess, if you really want to. The intelligence communities refuse to give Congress briefing, then that must mean that this is a fucking conspiracy or something. I mean, fine. I'm gonna withhold judgment on that. But I think it's as clear as fucking day that Russia had an interest in who was going to become the United States president. They definitely had a fucking preference, they got their preference, and that they definitely took some assertive measures to try and help Trump win this election. I don't really think there's any reason to doubt that at this point.
Yeah, I just wonder what they are, and then at the same time, if they're totally unreasonable. The point of that was get a little conversation, like it's worth questioning. Like for the most part, we've gone over this before. Ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, sure.
And I like the information that's being given to me to make a reasonable amount of sense.
Sure, but I don't know, man. There is so much of the questioning always seems to be, it just always seems to come from one side. I mean, it's never that hard to believe that Hillary Clinton has murdered people and is corrupt beyond all imagination. But this, for some reason, has a higher bar to pass. I don't know. I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make very, very ineloquently is that we're never going to fucking know for sure. There's always going to be some question. There's always going to be some 9/11 conspiracy theory out there that maybe has some legitimacy. It's just at a certain point, you got to make a fucking decision on who to believe.
So there's always going to be, in this case, a situation where you're going to have people who believe it, whether or not it's true. And the extent to which it is true is also important in that equation, because say, I don't know, say they did something, but not as much as someone else thought they did.
Sure.
There will always be that person at, like the Young Turks or InfoWars who has some wild idea about what actually happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's say they did nothing. There's no evidence that they did nothing. You can believe that they did something as a conspiracy theorist with only circumstantial evidence.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the definition of conspiracy theory. And then like conspiracy theory is different than questioning the government.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess you can question the motives. I don't really question whether it happened or not. I think maybe the more proper context to view it in is if Russia made an attempt to influence the outcome of the United States, to what degree was it even effective? And I certainly wouldn't argue that it was all that it was a decisive factor.
To what degree was it effective? To what degree was it legal or illegal? Most likely, in this case, it would be illegal.
That seems like a hard thing to, I don't know. Is it illegal for like a Russian entity to hack some idiot's Gmail account?
So, like 20 years ago, well, yes, that is illegal. Hacking is illegal.
Internationally, I mean, who gives a shit? Like, I'm from Russia, you're from America. What are you going to fucking do?
You mail us the warrant. See what happens.
I'll show up 9 a.m. Right?
So, like, there are ways to illegally try to influence the elections. It is not conspiracy theory territory to say that in the 90s, the Democratic Party solicited and received money from China.
Okay.
People went to jail for it.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
That's illegal because foreign entities aren't allowed to put money into it.
Yeah.
Like, if Benjamin Netanyahu went on TV and said, candidate A is a douchebag, don't vote for him. If you're a Jew, don't vote for him or her.
Yeah.
Then I think he's completely allowed to do that. I mean, it's poor form.
Yeah. He did kind of, but yeah, it is poor form.
Well, when he was in the United States, he had very specific agendas.
Yeah.
And an illustration of a bomb.
Yeah, he did.
All that good stuff.
Still waiting for it to go off, but yeah.
It's fine. I mean, the worst thing that'll happen is that there's a nuclear war.
Jesus
in the Middle
Christ.
East.
Well, we'll be ready for it, I guess. A little more ready, apparently, than we already fucking are.
But so there are legal and illegal ways for a nation state to try to influence the election. And even like, I mean, Obama did that with Brexit. He went over there and he actually probably helped sink that ship.
Maybe.
For the stay, because he showed up and he was like, I'm the president of the United States. I am the smartest man on earth.
Is that what
you
he
should
said?
Stay. He said exactly that thing. No, he wrote an op-ed. I remember reading it. It wasn't like terrible, but at the same time, if
you hate Obama, you are gonna hate him more.
if Angela Merkel were to write a letter about why I should vote for a candidate, I would still say, fuck you, it's none of your business.
Yeah.
And it is actually a little bit of their business, but
yeah, it is.
from my perspective, as a citizen of this country, it's none of your fucking business.
I would actually like it to be more of their business than mine at this point. I'd like to reduce the federal government's scope of control over domestic policy. Like, you know what? The president, he only talks to other leaders. That's it.
All right. So you are advocating an Alex Jones type globalist agenda.
Yeah, I guess. No, I'm not. I just don't want.
Yes,
I just don't want.
You are.
You
are doing exactly that thing right now.
It's super libertarian. It's a super libertarian policy.
What?
For the federal government to go fuck itself when it comes to domestic agenda, and to concern itself almost solely with foreign affairs.
I'm talking about like having external people influence our election, because that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. Well, that they would be the ones who would have to deal with it, because the president's entire scope of control would be with foreign affairs. So it would affect them more than it would affect me.
But I wouldn't want them to have any say over what we do.
I don't give a shit. It can't be worse. So
we would have said that a year ago. We would have said that 8 years ago. We would have said it 16 years ago. It can always get worse.
Oh, God, I really hope not.
It can always get worse.
Really?
As long as there is one human
really
left.
Hope not.
It can always get worse.
I guess it could be Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but...
Yeah. JGL 2020.
Christ, no.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He's going to go up against some stiff competition because
If he was the Democratic nominee, would I vote for him against Trump? Yeah, I would. Of course I would. Because JGL is ineffective and impotent in every movie he's ever been in. So...
I don't know, man. That hallway fight is still one of my favorites.
He was Cobra Commander.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
That was the worst.
Was.
That was just miscast.
Yeah, it was. That was a mismade movie.
Yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts? Any closing thoughts on Russia?
No, I don't know. The only thing that concerns me is the Middle Eastern stuff. Their enormous influence in Syria, and I think the relationship that they're cultivating with Iran on Syria. All of that is bad. So it concerns me going forward. What exactly American foreign policy is going to look like with a stronger and more influential Russia. I have a hard time believing we're gonna fucking do anything about it.
So, and this is a little bit off topic, but it's on the Middle East topic. And it was another reason why, like, certain articles, like this one was in Politico, which talks about why Russia wanting Trump makes no sense.
Okay.
Trump wants to get out of some of these burdensome limitations on our domestic production of oil and other things that would allow us to become more, if not completely, energy independent.
Yeah.
To have a United States that is, let's just say, only mildly interested in the goings-on of the Middle East is probably a net gain for us. It's probably also a net gain for Russia. But, like, if we don't have to deal with the Middle East, like, isn't that a good thing for us?
Yeah, in a way. But that's always true.
And then, I mean, Russia's going to want to deal with it, but Russia's economy is based almost solely on the exportation of gas and oil and other commodities like that.
It is.
So if the United States is not affected by the rise and fall of oil, then they have less influence over us and possibly also some of our allies, which is worse for Russia. Russia's always going to have some influence over Europe because for some fucking reason, they decided to get all of their natural gas from Russia.
Yeah.
Which is just insane.
Well, they don't have a whole lot of land to work with.
It's just insane. It's just like, try to come up with a better solution than being solely dependent on your rival to give you heat.
Yeah.
Like, quite literally, if I were like Germany or England or France, a major power in the area, I would not want them to be able to take away what Prometheus gave us.
Yeah.
Like 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Fire.
Yeah.
We need fire. So I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know either. I think between the two fucking choices, it makes perfect sense to me why Russia would want Trump over Clinton. That seems clear as day.
Yeah, well, there is a good article on Political. I'd encourage you to read it. I think like so many things now, it's just conjecture because there's so much selective belief. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people call it fake news. It's hard to say what fake news is because sometimes you just get, there's fake news on MSNBC. There's fake news on Fox.
Sure.
There's fake news everywhere. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Well, some of it is pretty outlandish.
Some of it is certainly more fake than other parts.
Yeah.
But to say like, oh, one outlet has like the, monopoly on truth.
That's Reuters. It's called Reuters.
I don't know. I usually like the AP.
The AP, yeah. Them too.
Somebody who doesn't have correspondence that I've heard of.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then at the same time has a website that's been established for more than 50 years. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because we're still in, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea really what President Trump is serious about, and then what he can actually get accomplished. It's hard to know because he's so completely full of shit. And just says whatever the hell he wants to say, whatever he thinks will win the moment. is generally his policy. So, you know, I don't know what to expect. We'll fucking see.
So if as it's my understanding that from the art of the deal,
Christ,
that he views distraction as a legitimate and should often be practiced tactic.
Yeah.
Which, like, people start talking about his foreign policy advisors or whatever, and he's like, we should get nukes. And then everyone stops talking about his foreign policy advisor and is like, did you hear that Donald Trump wants to make more nukes?
Yeah.
And so, like, I understand that in a certain sense that can be useful.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I kind of, not kind of, I definitely do want him to shut down his Twitter profile.
Yeah.
I don't think that, as people have said, it is a national security issue.
I don't know.
I don't believe it rises to that level.
I don't know.
I've been kind of interested in his choices for his cabinet.
Ugh.
And some of the reasons why I've been interested in what he's doing in his cabinet is not because I particularly agree with any of the choices in general, but he seems to be picking people who don't have necessarily the same worldview as he does. And
I guess.
and I realize there's also a theme that he has gone out and picked people for heading certain departments that they are specifically critical of.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think has its advantages. It has its advantages because it seems ridiculous with the amount of money that the government takes in, that it takes so much money to get some of these things done.
Yeah, I agree.
And so if you have a person who's in there and is not particularly invested in the idea of, I don't know, the education department or the EPA or whatever it is,
Right.
and they can trim out, 10, 20% in waste, that's a good thing.
Sure, that's a good thing. As long, but I don't know if these are people who are just merely critical of these departments or people who are like, these departments shouldn't even fucking exist. Like, there's a difference, I think. Like, I don't want to appoint, someone who thinks education is a fucking waste of time to the Department of Education. That seems a little ridiculous.
Oh, well, see, this is why I don't move out by you. You're in Goldwater territory, and yet you support this unconstitutional department.
Yeah. Because who gives a shit? America's doing great when compared to the rest of the world with its education. So
it's actually doing worse
Yeah.
than when we founded the Department of Education.
Wow, when was that? When was it founded?
In the 40s or 50s.
Yeah,
I remember
long time ago.
Goldwater writing about it because I read some of his stuff, and he went at length on why at the time it was unnecessary.
Yeah, I think if we just left it to the states so that places like Texas could teach creationism, that would be awesome. That's definitely the right fucking direction to go. Whatever we can do to make the states more separate from each other is definitely the way to go.
So, like, you get the best ideas out of that system. You also get worse ideas, but
Like, way worse.
But the democratization of government in that way is going to fuel competitive advantages in different states.
Yeah.
And eventually, that's how you get a better product.
I feel like that's always what is said, and it just so rarely seems to actually come true. It's one of those. It's this larger philosophical idea. It's just extolling the virtues of capitalism and competition, and it seems to so rarely work out so gloriously. I don't know why it leads to better products and better a better economy overall. I don't know why that's the sole focus, rather than it leads to a bunch of people concentrating wealth in the smallest portion of the population and the rest of the fucking country being screwed over, essentially.
So
I mean, clearly that kind of almost unrestrained competition needs to be mitigated to some degree.
Well, that's why you have the Bill of Rights. And you have no, seriously, you have basic fundamental rights that are outlined at a federal level, and then within this sort of, we'll just call it an Overton window, but it's not exactly what the Overton window is. Within this window, you're allowed to do what you want, create better or worse solutions. It absolutely does work. And if you don't want to believe it, there are plenty of economists who have written about this. You can read about it in Milton or Hayek, or if you wanted to look at it on a social level, you can certainly find plenty of people who talked about that. Even people like Solzhenitsyn
sure
go into that quite a bit. And really in the absence of competition, you really find kind of the worst, most protective, least innovative results.
Right. And we're arguing between two extremes. No one here is advocating for an absence of competition. But it's to what degree that needs to be mitigated, because the Bill of Rights is worthless unless it's actively protected and you have access to those protections. It's just a bunch of fucking words without that. And if you don't have any money, if you're at the bottom of the goddamn totem pole, your access to that is extremely limited. So that's always gonna be, I think, an issue. And if you're a dumb fuck because your stupid fucking state has had to teach you creationism because they feel it's their moral duty, you're already at a disadvantage. So that kind of stuff needs to be protected. Someone needs to be, I think, watching out for that kind of shit. I think we're so far off topic that we probably should have ended the show a long time ago. Assuming there is anyone even listening.
Nobody cares. All right, well, that has been episode number 10 of Wednesday Night Gentlemen, the Multimedia Empire official podcast. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please feel to hit that like button or subscribe to our channel if you have enjoyed our extremely on-topic banter.
Unfocused. Probably incoherent. I'm going to go ahead and say.
Well, at least Solzhenitsyn is a Russian.
Good stuff.
I got closer to the fucking topic.
There you go. Good job, JP.
We will see you again on episode number 11 of Wednesday Night Gentlemen. I say that we should talk about the best and worst things about 2016.
Oh, okay. A year-end show. I like it.
Yeah, we'll have balloons.
All right. Exciting stuff.
All right.